All right, well, it's October, end of October here in Alaska. We just had our first snowfall, and it's pretty much melted away, but it's definitely getting cold. Ground is frozen, and we are moving into wintertime here in Alaska. So that means it is wing covers and engine preheating season. And I have been meaning to make a video about my preheating setup for a while now. I know there's a lot of different systems and a lot of different opinions and cool stuff people have made, but I don't know why people spend hundreds of dollars on an engine heater. Gonna give you a little preview of what I use here at home, as well as out in the field when I'm out winter camping and skiing, and show you some of my methods and tricks that I've found to work well, and pretty versatile for any kind of flying. So check it out. All right, well, first and foremost is a good engine cover. I have this one from Alaska Mountain Products, not sponsored by them or anything, but they make really, really good products. They made my windshield cover as well as my wing covers, and the super thick insulated engine cover. It's pretty bulky. I got the extra thick version, so definitely does not pack down small, but in an emergency, if you're camping out in the wintertime, it would definitely help for extra insulation, keep you warm. The bungee system's okay. I think I'd prefer Velcro, but I could probably make it either way. These just tend to get hung up on stuff. Yeah, so my engine blanket stays on pretty much all winter and comes with me anytime I go out flying and shut down. I just throw it on and I'll button it up nice and tight if I'm out skiing for the day. Especially if it's windy up on glacier or something, wind blowing into the cowling will cool it down really quick. So this thing just gets real tight around the engine and keeps it toasty all day. One of my favorite tricks, well, you don't need an engine cover for this, but when you're out skiing or even when you land, bring a burrito with you and some tin foil and stick on the cylinder. It's nice and toasty, especially skiing. It stays nice and warm in there when you got your engine cover on. So in there you can see I just have an oil pan heater. I think people put automotive ones on, but I got mine off the aircraft spruce from, I think it's called Easy Heat. And Easy Heat claims you don't need an STC or anything to put them on. They're just temporary, stick onto your engine. And I got a 250 watt version. Just bought one for my 0360 for the Cub I'm building. And then I also have one on this 0320, so that they say it's rated to heat 6 to 8 quarts of oil well. So I find the 250 watt works really good. I definitely wouldn't want less than that. And yeah, I feel like I'm often kind of a rush to get going, or the generator quits, runs out of gas, and I only have an hour to heat it up, and it heats it up pretty well in an hour. I've never actually tested it, so I'm gonna test it today and see what our starting point is and run the generator for an hour, see what happens. But pretty simple. I usually just have a Honda 1000 generator because we don't have electricity down where our planes are parked. But that's great. We can plug in Ash's plane and mine to that 1000 watt. I think in an hour it's pretty good. I usually like to give it 2. We're gonna actually test that out to see what my temps really are. If I'm in a rush or I wanna get the cylinders warm, often I'll run my little secret weapon here. I don't know why people spend hundreds of dollars on an engine heater. I got this, well, the sticker came off, but I got this at Value Village for $2.99, I think. And I've had it for 2 years now, running a lot. So it's ran a really long time. They're great. Old hair dryer from Value Village or Goodwill or whatever. It costs you a few bucks, has built-in overheat protection, and it fits super nice right here. Stick it in between the cylinders, close the cowl, and that gets both cylinders pretty nice and warm. And this system will work great even at like -20 plus. I try not to fly under -20 very often, but I've done it, especially living in our old town where we used to live. It was -20s, -30s all the time because it was down low in a valley. You climb up 500 feet and it'd be 20 degrees, but down the valley it'd be really cold. So we had to do some serious preheating there, but engine heater, especially with the hair dryer, it's good to go in an hour. I can do the hair dryer on low with the oil heater, but if I'm in a rush, I'll get the big generator. I have a 3000 watt that I'll plug in. Sometimes I have 2 hair dryers, so I can do it in both cylinders or both sides of the engine, run the hair dryer with the oil pan heater, and be good to go in an hour, even at -20. So yeah, it's about 30 degrees, probably getting close to 32 now. The sun's warming things up, but let's see what the engine's at right now. We're gonna do a little test here. Okay, so we got 30 degrees pretty much, and I'm gonna time it. All right, 11:30 a.m., gonna fire up the generator, see what happens in an hour. Engine's about 30 degrees. I'm just gonna put the oil pan heater on. I know the hair dryer too. I usually run it to get the cylinders warm, but I'm kind of curious. I've never actually tested how warm just the oil pan heater running gets the cylinders also. Usually I like to get the cylinders as warm as I can also, but we're gonna do a little test here and try out oil pan only. I'll check in an hour, see what the oil pan and cylinders are at, and then give it 2 hours and check them again then. All right, generator's going. We'll give it an hour, see where we're at. Another thing I want to mention is when it's real cold outside, I'd often put a small little space heater in the cockpit to heat up the cabin, and I've heard it can help with electronics and gauges and stuff like that. It also just makes it more comfortable. You can get in there, you're not touching metal that's freezing cold. So yeah, we'll check back in, and then I'll tell you guys about my remote field camping setup. And then hopefully we're gonna go out and do some flying, meet up some buddies, and go get a little bit of tire flying in before winter is fully here and switch to skis. 1 hour in, generator only, no hair dryer, and we're gonna see how warm she is. Oh man, cylinders didn't get warm at all. They're 36. 36 as well, 35, 36 in the cylinders. Top of the case, 40 degrees. Oil pan is at 106, 80 degrees further away from the heater pad, so it's definitely heating up. Oil's good and hot, but I would not say my cylinders are hot enough. Hour in, yeah, they're still showing 35 degrees. They got a little heat, but not much. Well, that's why I always try and run the hair dryer as well as the oil pan heater. Yeah, definitely not ideal to start it right now. Definitely want a little bit more heat. Cold starts are the hardest thing on your engine, so might as well get it warm. But oil pan's definitely up to temperature. I think an hour is plenty of heat for the oil pan. I think that, I mean, it's already gone down to 90, so I think it could get hotter. I think another hour is not bad. So I'm gonna put the hair dryer on low on these cylinders and see what that does to this side. And then that would kind of validate what I usually do, which is put the oil pan heater on, hair dryer on one side for an hour, the other side for an hour, and everything is pretty warm to the touch. So we'll try the hair dryer on low. I can't run it on high with the generator, so we'll do it on low, the oil pan heater on, see what happens. Dryer's running. I like to get it pointed right down at the cylinders if I can. All right, 2 hours in, had the hair dryer going for the last hour, oil pan heater still on. Let's see what temps we got up to. Ooh, oil pan's up to 138, 155 in the front, 153, 155. The back, kind of farther away from the heater pad, it's 107, 106. Nice and hot. Definitely ready to rip. Cylinders 67, far away, pretty much furthest away. That's on the fins too, not the actual cylinder. Yeah, 67, 70, pretty much all of the cylinder inside of the case is at 85, 82 on the case, 65 outside the cylinders. Rocker cover is 56 degrees, so definitely ready to rip. 2 hours was plenty. Let's see what the other side cylinders are at. Front of the case, 75. 75 degrees. Well, that's good to know. I guess you don't really even need to put the hairdryer on both sides. In an hour, it got the cylinders from 34, 36, I think it was, up to 60, 70 degrees. So yeah, I think in an hour with both the hairdryer on low and the oil pan heater on, should be ready to rip. A little bit colder, might give a little bit more time, but I think that all that heat is pretty concentrated. You're starting from a little bit colder, but yeah, I think an hour is pretty good, 2 hours, and everything should be nice and toasty and ready to rock. All right, so there's my at-home setup for preheating, oil pan heater, hairdryer. Doesn't get any easier than that, really. And then when I'm out in the field, this is my field kit, or if I go winter camping, skiing, or in general, I just pretty much always have this in the plane, winter flying, just in case something happens, I get stuck somewhere, I can get the engine warm. So it lives in my plane all winter long. And it's bulky, but this only weighs, let's see, I'm guessing a few pounds. 4 pounds. 4.1. Jet boils, or the MSR equivalent, those fuel canisters, when they get cold, they lose their pressure, so often they don't work in the cold. I've had to sleep with them in my sleeping bag before, and even then they still don't work very well. So in the wintertime, I don't even really bring jet boils because it's always super freaking cold here. I just have MSR stoves, and I think this is called the Dragonfly. It basically just has one more adjustable knob, so you can get a little bit more of a more adjustable stove, get it to a simmer. Still burns the crap out of food, but it works a little bit better. This is kind of nice in the snow. Creates a little radiation barrier, heat barrier, so it doesn't melt all the snow. I like to try and put it on something hard if I can. And then here's the pump. I like to keep this pump in a plastic bag because they do clog. This is the one item that needs some maintenance. Need to clean it every now and then. Sometimes in the wintertime, I'll even bring a spare because I have a spare, and this is pretty much the only thing that can like fail you on these stoves, as far as I know. And then, yeah, people have all sorts of crazy heater systems that cost hundreds of dollars. This stove I bought at a secondhand store for like 30 bucks. The fuel container, I always have the small one on me. If I'm going camping, I'll bring a larger 1 liter one with good white gas that's meant for these stoves. It definitely works a little bit better, burns cleaner and hotter, easier to start. If I'm not going camping, I just always have this in the plane. Doesn't look like much fuel, but it actually lasts a long time. I can pretty much always, in any situation, get fuel out of the tanks, out of the wing tanks. That's the nice thing about these stoves, is they burn any fuel pretty much. And then all I have is this dryer vent tube and this, I guess it's a step down adapter from 6 inches to 4 inches, and then another one from 4 inches down to 3 inches. So go to Home Depot or Lowe's, get these two guys. They live together, fit great on top of the MSR stove. Dryer tube shrinks, fits on here, super easy. Stretch it up, put it under your cowl, and I'm gonna test it out. I know it pumps hot air, like you can't touch this thing without gloves on, and it's like fiery hot, but I'm gonna do a little test here and see how hot it actually gets. But I've had good luck, like when my generator wouldn't start, I left out in the cold, couldn't get my generator started, I don't have power down here. I have fired this thing up, and I'll have to test it as well, but I believe it was like an hour or less and the whole engine is piping hot. It just blows hot air and gets the whole engine compartment hot with the engine cover on, so it works pretty well. That's my setup, 4 pounds. Otherwise, I always have a stove in the plane that's usually a couple pounds, so really doesn't weigh much. Super easy to build yourself. You can order the MSR stove online or go get it secondhand for cheap. And that's my setup. 360 degrees pretty consistently. And then if I give it some extra pumps and get the bottle totally pressurized, you can hear the stove go up, and it'll get up to well over 400 degrees, so pretty darn hot. And that'll warm up your engine pretty quick. A little bit bulky, but just throwing back the plane. Often don't need it, but it always lives in there. In wintertime, I always carry extra food too. In the summer, I usually have a couple days of food just in case the weather gets really bad. But wintertime, you can definitely get super stormed in, and I try and have at least 10 meals on me. I can stretch over a while with 2 people, 5 days. So yeah, I've got a little pot that can go on here too with my freeze-dried meals, so adds a little extra weight, but not much, and keep you alive out there. Well, that's about it. I think wind's picking up a little bit, but it ain't too bad, and looks like a beautiful day, so we'll go flying now. And here we go. Got a little bit of nice weather out here, so I just picked up Jaron, and yeah, we just flipped the backyard river. A little bit snowier than we thought, but there's still a little bit of gravel showing, so this might be one of our last couple days to play around on some gravel bars. So we're gonna mess around a little bit, do some filming. Absolutely, let's get after it. Heck yeah. Don't have much of a plan other than play around before we're in full winter mode here in Alaska and put skis on.